Happy belated Valentines. I am on the tail end of a pretty bad flu at the moment, so my voice is going to be a bit different from usual, but I'm going to try my best. In this video, we're going to be covering the Ardent Admirers Summon Showcase, which is going to be running from the 14th of February to February the 22nd. So it's just over a week, or about 6 days from when this video is uploaded. Our first 5-star unit that is added in this showcase is Valentine's Hildegarde. She's a 5-star fire staff unit, so still a healer, and her skill 1 is a regen. This regen has the same recovery potencies as Verica's, but however lacks a stun cleanse and also gives the entire team +1 energy. Her second skill is a shield that covers up to 30% of the unit's maximum hit points, and also gives +2 energy to the entire team. Her co-ability goes up to a 20% bonus to recovery potency, which is slightly more than Verica, and her other abilities include a Force Strike Debilitator ability, which gives you up to 70% chance of reducing the enemy strength by 3% for 10 seconds, as well as a stun resist of up to 100%, and also skill prep 100% when you've maxed out that ability. With this 100% skill prep, you do have the potential to be energizing your teammates within about 14 to 15,000 charged skill points. However, this variation of Hildegarde's skill 1 has roughly 30% extra skill points required to actually charge the skill. So whether or not the healing throughput is more than Verica, which is unlikely considering only one of the skills is a heal, entirely comes down to whether or not the buffed regen actually compensates for the lack of a second healing skill. In terms of weapons available to Hildegarde, we have the 5-star tier 3 fire staff, which gives a +15 to 20% bonus to recovery potency for 5 seconds. You're probably unlikely to get to 20% as that requires a maximum unbound 5-star tier 3 weapon, which is a pretty hefty investment, but that 5-second buff might enable you to do your best Phoenix impression with the regen. The 4-star tier 3 fire staff has a 180 to 207% recovery potency heal to the team member that's most in need. This is typically the staff that you see Verica using in High Midgard Sorma, so there's not really much of a difference there. Hildegarde is very much still a new unit at the moment, so I'd assume that not too many people have really been comparing Hildegarde and Verica side by side in High Midgard Sorma. Whether or not Hildegarde is an actual strict upgrade to Verica is still to be seen, but at this moment it's probably pretty safe to assume that most people have already been clearing High Midgard Sorma with Verica, so Hildegarde can be considered a side grade at most. However, in terms of straight damage, Hildegarde, being a natural 5-star, will end up doing more damage than Verica. So if you don't have a fire healer at the moment, Hildegarde could be a good pickup for you in this summon showcase. And now on to the 5-star fire dragon added in this banner, Prometheus. Prometheus is not actually limited to the summon showcase, so even after the showcase ends, Prometheus will remain in the summoning pool. Prometheus provides a 35 to 50% bonus to strength depending on whether or not he's maximum unbound, and also provides a 15% wind resistance. Compared to Cerberus and Agni, the two other 5-star fire dragons currently in the pool, Prometheus has 5 extra hit points and 6 less points towards strength, which kind of makes sense considering the 15% wind res and the extra health go somewhat hand in hand in making the actual resistance slightly more useful. Prometheus's skill is 504 to 560% damage and is 1 hit. That's not particularly anything to write home about. Prometheus's bonus distribution can enable melee units to use prints other than High Midgard Sorma for High Midgard Sorma, so that means that melee units with a Prometheus could end up doing more damage with a appropriate Wyrmprint. However, ranged units can also use the wind resist to sort of make it slightly safer for them to do more damage in terms of sort of the bonus distribution. So far on the Discord and some discussion on Reddit has indicated that Sinoa with Prometheus has been said to be quite good for High Midgard Sorma, since the extra wind resist makes it slightly safer for her and makes it easier to keep Sinoa alive, considering that Sinnoh actually makes high Midgard's armor clears much smoother, along with even the HP buff can actually enable some units to take multiple hits from high Midgard's armor without outright dying. In the meantime, I'll sound like I'm dying, but that's completely fine. Now, for the Wyrmprints added in this Summon Showcase, we've got our 5-star Wyrmprint, the Chocolatiers, which gives you a 50 to 100% skill prep. This is somewhat redundant with Hildegarde, but could be very interesting to use with other adventurers. 50 to 100% skill prep is actually some of the highest bonuses we've seen on a Wyrmprint for skill prep, so this could be a fairly interesting print, but again, I don't think it's going to enable anything particularly broken, but hey, maybe some adventurers might enjoy it. The other 5-star Wyrmprint added in this Summon Showcase is the Wyrmprints. This Wyrmprint provides flame units Affliction Guard, which allows you to resist afflictions once to thrice per quest, and also gives you shield prep, which means you start with a 10% to 20% shield at the start of a quest. Do keep in mind that teasers for Void Battles have actually started to be released, so you might find that this Affliction Guard might be somewhat useful in terms of longer scale content. Next up we have Valentine's Ezelith, a 4-star fire bow with a support designation. Her skill 1 provides 8 hits of up to 96% damage and sets enemies on fire. Her skill 2 deals 1 hit of up to 716% and also has an up to 90% chance of inflicting a 10% defense debuff to the enemy. Ezelith has the typical 4-star bow co-ability, and in terms of her actual abilities has Energy Up with 40 hit combo, Stun Resist, and Broken Punisher. With the self-energizing combined with another unit on the team that provides energy, such as a Valentine's Hildegarde, combining that with a Broken Punisher could result in some hefty hits on broken units, though do keep in mind that you need to have a skill available when a unit is broken, and broken units typically only happen to get broken once in a while. Now, in terms of the weapon availabilities for fireboats, you've got your 5-star tier 3 weapon, which is a selfish 20 to 25% critical rate buff that lasts for 10 seconds. A 4-star tier 3 firebow does 777 to 863% damage in a line, which is in a single shot. Overall, Valentine's Ezelith could be a unit that you consider for high Midgard's armor. While probably not a big DPS dealer overall, her second skill can provide quite a bit of utility to the party in terms of inflicting the defense debuff, which in turn increases the damage per second dealt by other units on your team. Now onwards to the final unit introduced in this banner, Valentine's Orion. This time he's a 3-star fire sword with a support designation. His first skill is a 2-hit sword spin and it sets enemies on fire. And his skill 2 increases the defense of the team by up to 15% for 15 seconds. His stats are a straight upgrade from Marty, and his skills sort of also make him a better Marty. In shorter battles you can expect Valentine's Orion's skill 1 to do more damage up front, since the setting enemies on fire causes the damage of this skill overall to do more damage than Marty's. However, the actual hits themselves deal less damage than Marty's hits, so in a longer fight when an enemy starts to develop resistance to being set on fire, then Marty's damage starts to pull ahead. Whether or not it's actually ahead though requires a bit of number crunching due to Orion having naturally higher stats. His skill 2 I'd say is better for reducing damage from multiple hits from multiple enemies, possibly, but do keep in mind that shields that Marty provides would actually also prevent status afflictions. In terms of Orion's co-ability, you've got your standard sword co-ability of Dragon Rate Up, and then you've got Curse Resist, and a Strength Double buff, which means that he synergizes with himself when he increases his own defense. Now the Curse Resist is a bit of an odd choice considering the current content available, but we could see some interesting stuff coming up in the upcoming Void Battles content. In terms of weapon availabilities, we've covered fire swords already, but in case you weren't there for the last video, you've got your 5-star tier 3 weapon, which deals 5 hits of 149% for up to 745%, and that's at non-maximum unbind. And then your 4-star tier 3 weapon will deal 2 hits of 338 to 375% damage, so up to 750% damage overall. Fairly standard choices for fire swords, both deal damage, build the sword for whether or not you really want to tackle endgame content. Overall, I'd say that Orion occupies a similar sort of position as Marty in that you wouldn't really use him as a lead unit, though I do think he would make a decent filler unit in longer scale content because he'll just increase the survivability of your team overall. Nothing you'd want to particularly pull for, but hey, it's a 3-star unit, you might end up getting it sort of just by chance anyway. Now for the 4-star Wyrmprint added in this banner, Entwined Flames. This is not a limited Wyrmprint, so it will remain in the summoning pool after the banner ends, and it provides a 6 to 10% buff to dragon damage. This is rather specific, but hey, whatever. Cygames needs more random specific Wyrmprints. It's not terribly, impactful, but sure, why not? And now the 3-star Wyrmprint is To My Beloved. This is a Wyrmprint that gives you 10 to 15% skill prep, so not terribly impressive. Do keep in mind there are a bunch of free Wyrmprints from the event that you can potentially be earning at the moment. These will be unlocked by going through the stories available in the events. The only really notable ones I can consider are the Petal Queen, which you don't actually earn through stories but rather through treasure trade. This one, when maximum unbound, will energize you at the start of a quest. And the other Wyrmprint I feel might be particularly useful is a Heartfelt Gift. So this one actually provides just a straight EXP, like player experience bonus. So this would be useful if you weren't around for the Christmas event to get the EXP bonus print that was available then. And then for some stuff that I sort of intended to cover in the last video but completely forgot about, it's the old Dragon and Wyrmprint that were available before but have rate up on this showcase. The Wyrmprint with the rate up on this Summon Showcase is Destiny's Hand. Destiny's Hand provides recovery, potency buff, and a bit of skill prep, which is a bit redundant with Valentine's Hildegarde, but if you have another healer that might want to use this, then yeah, sure, why not. The dragon with rate up this time around is Phoenix, so typically a dragon that you'd want to put on a fire element healer. Overall, I'd say this banner doesn't introduce anything that is blatant power creep. The Rose Prince Wyrmprint is somewhat interesting, but since it doesn't really play into the matter of dealing as much damage as quickly as possible, then I can't say it's really a must-have either. I might recommend pulling on this banner if you don't have a fire healer. Personally, I only have Orion and no Verica, so I might do a few pulls on this showcase, but I can't really expect to get Valentine's Hildegarde very easily, considering the rates are pretty bad for 5-star units. I'm much more likely to end up getting a 5-star Wyrmprint instead. However, I personally am a bit of a collector, so I'll probably end up doing a few pulls anyway to get the Valentine's units. I'm going to provide similar advice to what I normally do. I'm not your boss. Pull if you want limited units, but none of these are particularly must-haves in terms of game mechanics. Prometheus himself is a rather interesting dragon, but since he remains in the pool afterwards, then, it's not really a big deal that makes you have to pull instantly on this showcase. In the end, thank you very much for watching through my video and sort of bearing with my voice that sounds like I'm swallowing 7 dead cats and dying inside myself. And I wish you luck in your upcoming pulls.